She did call me Michael, though. The only time that anybody ever calls me Michael was my mom when I was in trouble. So I kind of did that number when she said it. Oh, something happened during the pledge, and I wanted to comment on it because it stood out to me. Everybody in the room took a pause before under God. I had a guy 3 or 4 years ago now rightfully correct me saying there's no comma in there. And I said, I understand that, but I think it's more appropriate to emphasize under God by having that pause in there. And he says, I can buy that. And I noticed from then on, he put that pause in there. Because once you take God out of it, you're lost.
Amen.
That's right.
So I do appreciate so much for being here. You know, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've done on the last 4 years, because I've even heard that rumor here today that I am resigning. I am not resigning. I am not running for majority leader again. I've been majority leader for the last 4 years, and we've got a lot of great accomplishments. We've got a lot of stuff that in place to move us positively forward. But after a little bit, it's time to put some new blood in there and let a fresh set of ideas take it and move forward. But on the last 4 years, some of the accomplishments that we have, Jason and retarded for one, the constitutional carry. I mean, how many years have we been talking about that? So I'm proud of Jason for finally getting that thing across the finish line. A few years ago, and it was somewhat controversial, but we said it was a imperative as ours, was the heartbeat bill. Now you're seeing the other side. Unfortunately, Ms. Abrams is using a lot of that, and there's a lot of erroneous information in her ads. And I mean, at some point, I think that would be close to libel. We passed an elections integrity bill that cost us some grief at the front side, and then it was emulated almost verbatim by 17 other states, and was selected by the Heritage Institute, who's, I think most people in here know who the Heritage Institute is, as the model for legislation on election security. How to make it as convenient as you possibly can, how to make it as seamless as you possibly can, transparent as you possibly can, and safe and secure as you possibly can. And putting all those things together into one bill took some work. But it is the model the rest of the nation is following now. So I was proud of that. Some that y'all don't know about, but it's going to be a little bit of a game changer for the state. We had not had a statewide apprenticeship program. So you have kids that are in high school that know they don't want to go to further education in either the technical college system or the university system. They want to get on with their lives. So if I'm in school and I do want to go to the technical college system, or I do want to go to the university system, I can do dual enrollment. If I'm one of these kids that doesn't want to do that, I can't do dual enrollment until now. So we have a statewide apprenticeship program that's set up so kids can actually go into the workforce, get paid, get credit for what they're doing, and go ahead and get started with their lives in the area and the directions they want to take. And that costs businesses to do that. That costs businesses to set that up. So the state is supplementing those businesses just like we do with the university system and with the technical system to bring those kids in, to start these programs, to get them, because honestly, a lot of those kids were getting lost right in our last couple of years. They did not want to be where they were. They just wanted to get out and get going, and it was affecting them, our graduation rates, and then in the long run, the state. So I'm proud that we got that set up and going. It's been a good 4 years of doing that, and I'm leaving it with mixed feelings. But like I said before, it'll wear you out, and it is a part-time legislature. So what I'm doing is I'm running for pro tem instead. And it's not a given. We got several good guys that are friends of mine that are also throwing their name in the hat. But it's a different set of challenges. I think it's going to be good for the state. With some of options that I would like to bring into the Senate. We've developed, I know this is a strange concept up there, having to have a Republican-led Senate and House. And it's a strange concept that we actually started working with the House at the Senate so that we all have a common, we work this stuff out on the front side and actually have a common view and vision of where we're going forward so that you don't have a lot of the issues that ends up making the headlines and all this infighting. And we do it with the governor's office. I know, that's wild. You got a Republican governor, a Republican House, and a Republican Senate, and we sit down in a room together and say, here's how we think the state ought to go forward. I've got about 25 priorities, because I'm not out of the majority leader's office yet, going forward for the next 2 years. We will narrow those down to caucus priorities to about 10, because if you have 25 priorities, you don't have any. So we will, and I'm not going to tell you what they are because the caucus hasn't seen them yet. The caucus actually gets them this weekend. And we'll take that 25, calm down and move forward. But they'll be in the same vein as to what you're talking about, that I was talking about previously. Matter of fact, one of the priorities that we did this last year that I was very, very proud of, Lydia actually brought to me. I call it divisive concepts. Some people call it CRT. We did not call it CRT because CRT is one methodology. Divisive concepts is an idea. And because if I had called that thing CRT, they could have just changed the name of it and say we are not teaching CRT. But when you go through it, that one actually has also been copied by at least 11 other states right now to say this is the one where, I think Florida's even talking about adjusting theirs to go to this model because of the legwork that we did. And this is from ladies like Lydia that come and say, this is a problem. This is a problem facing our state, a problem facing our schools. And, you know, I don't think it was an issue in Paulding, but it was funny.
It's an issue everywhere, Sam.
Yeah. But it was funny because during one of the committee meetings, one of the senators says, show me one system where CRT is being taught. And went, whoa, here's two. And they went, oh, okay, show me 3 systems then. So, thank y'all for letting me be here. Sounds like my time's up.
No. I'm sorry, I didn't turn my phone off.
Now, that's kind of an overview. It's what I prefer to do, and I'm a lot more comfortable doing, is let y'all ask questions instead of me sitting up here talking for 20 minutes and you go, he didn't cover anything that I wanted to talk about. There are, I will tell you, if we get into details about election integrity, if somebody wants to ask DECA, I'm going to have to be I'm being sued. Yeah. So I've got to be very general in a lot of my answers. Okay, so I just put that out there.
Is that the state?
No, that's me.
Personal.
I mean, I wrote it, so I'm going to be the one that gets caught in there. So, okay, so what are your questions? Yes?
You know, I told you beforehand. I told you beforehand that I had a question. I have 2. One is from